Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Paint Alive. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday evening. And here we go with another one of these. Tonight, we're going to be painting more British people, but this time, British people flying kites. So this guy has one big chopstick instead of possibly smaller chopsticks, which makes him different than all of the Harry Potter stuff that I had been painting of late. This is rookie Ikaros, and you can see that I'm painting him separate from his base because the client in this case wants him on a custom base. So, and the custom base came pretty much painted, which is awesome. It just gives me more time to work on rookie Ikaros here. And the interesting thing about this is that there was also a painted Ikaros. So there's somebody else painted this Ikaros, and it's actually not a terrible paint job. It's pretty good. Hey, what's up? So this isn't too bad, but I think what I'm gonna have to do is make it so that I can convince somebody that this is the same person by trying to keep the color schemes as similar as I can, maybe going back and touching up the we'll call him he's not really a veteran model, but the non-rookie Ikaros. So anyways, so, I just gave this model a prime. How's it going, Michael? So I just gave him a prime right now, and I did an undercoat of Fire Slayer Flesh. It's actually, I'm testing it out as a flesh undercoat, and you can see it's not bad. It's a pretty good flesh undercoat. It's not, because it's a contrast paint. Ooh, this is going to be a tricky angle here to work. Ooh, cannot get back there. Because it's a contrast paint, it's not the most even paint you're going to come across, but we'll make it work. Okay, so we'll start with doing the eyes here. Hey, what's up, Congo? How's it going, man? Long time no see. Where you been? Ooh. Yeah, that's just a weird angle. It's no wonder why they made this separate. But we'll make it happen, right? Question: what is my son's favorite color? It's a great question. He is more. I think he tends to like green and red. So those are two of his favorite colors. And I'm more of a blue and yellow guy. So I guess between the two of us, we've got most of the colors there. It's like midnight when I stream. It is midnight when I stream. Well, on your time zone. Yes, it is, sir. What do you got to wake up for? You can stay up late. All right. Ooh, man, this is definitely challenging to get that eyeball in there. I guess you're not seeing how I have to cut this angle here. Look down. You see how it's almost a 90-degree angle, right? I mean, it's that part of the face, he's turned in such a way that part of the face really is in line there with the you guys totally missed how hard that was too. I'm watching it on the playback. Ooh. So like, this is the easy eye to do. The one that's a total, like 100% facing you is easy to do, but it's like 100% facing you and on this eye, and then the other eye is 0% facing you. Now, not the end of the world though, because I can actually use that to my advantage. it kind of makes it easier. So if I screw up that other eye, it's a lot harder to detect. So I still have to do a good job on this eye. Good to know I can definitely make something green. Okay, I don't wake up for anything normally 6 or 7 a.m. because my body's like, nah, awesome dream with your tennis champion wife. You're still dreaming of Martina, huh? Tennis champion wife. I think it would be fun to be with somebody that would be athletic. It'd probably be tiring though, because they would make me go exercise and do all that kind of stuff. High winds kept you up for stream. Ooh, it's a bummer. Actually, I actually have been doing a little bit more exercise since the lockdown here, which is good. You know, it's a good habit to get into. So my son and I have been doing we do a little exercise and we do a little, and we watch a little Rise of the Shield Hero. Oh, Congo, okay. Yeah, that's good that you don't know who Martina is. She's Martina Navratilova is basically, if you Google her, basically all the Sisters of Battle are based off of her aesthetic. That's funny only to me, and it's offensive to other people who know who Martina Navratilova is. Oh man, I mean, I will say that the tennis players these days are a lot hotter than they were, back in the 80s. Back in the 80s and the 90s, well, like most of the 90s, all you really had was, Chris Everett Lloyd. That was about it. Uh, and then it was basically Maria Sharapova came and changed the whole game for the fine dining tennis players. Get an orc barbarian. Nice. That's cool. The funny thing is, I still, there are certain sports that, and I'll just be full sexist here for a minute, but there are certain sports where I prefer to watch, the women's version rather than the men's version. Tennis is one of them, and the reason why is because women's tennis has a lot more rallying in it, so it's a lot more, I guess there's a little more action. Men's tennis, that they serve so hard that you'll get a lot of aces in men's tennis, where like a point in women's tennis typically will take longer to score, so it's a little more entertaining. Likewise, now when it comes to NBA, like full court basketball, then I like to watch the men play full court basketball. But I was like talking a little while ago about international women's 3-on-3 hoops, and I vastly prefer the women 3-on-3 half court. And again, and it's so bad because it's like, yay, you like the women, but I'm like, well, they're slower. So they don't, men's 3-on-3 half court is just really like physical, and they lock down. They're so fast and so strong that they lock down each other for the whole time. Whereas women 3-on-3 half court, there's a little more fluidity. They can move around. In men's, it's like, I block you, I block you, I block you, you dunk. I block you, and it's not very interesting to watch. It's not nearly as interesting when you take dunking off the table. And when you do, and there are vast differences in speed between women playing 3-on-3 basketball. Let's see. Tennis champion just covers my bases. People get it. My mini women need biceps. Not really, but ends up that way. If it's not Malifaux, even Infinity women have biceps. Yeah, that's true. You missed the rowing machine. Hey, what's up, Nelson? The U.S. soccer team. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just be honest and say I can't watch soccer of either gender. It's soccer is, it's like, to me it's like baseball. It's fun to play, terrible to watch. I used to play a fair bit of soccer when I was a young kid, when I was in 3rd and 4th grade. We lived in Connecticut, and that was basically the only acceptable sport that little boys could play, was soccer. You're planning to get back into Malifaux. So am I, sir. I actually am planning on getting back into Malifaux because it's a great game. I love my Guild Ball, but who knows where the future is going to be with Guild Ball? With the field test and the numerous issues around getting product, and then basically Steamforge really kind of putting their focus on other titles and understanding that Guild Ball is on the back half of its life as a game. That's what they're saying. So and my community is like, yeah, we all love Guild Ball, but we have to be realistic. If Guild Ball dies on the shelf, then it's going to be extremely hard for us to sustain. So we just need to be honest about that. So anyway, yeah, community. Yeah, it's a shame, but I think I mentioned this before. I think the problem with Guild Ball is it's too well designed, and I think even the creators understand that. When you have a super well designed, competitive, clean game like Guild Ball, which is so precise, we talk about this a lot actually on this feed. That's wonderful for the the dedicated top end player base at Guild Ball, but it's a disaster for casual players and any new players, non-competitive level players. It can be very difficult for them to get into the game, and we just see a natural attrition where Guild Ball starts off with a lot of players, and eventually the Shark Tank starts to take hold and you start running out of little fish. Pretty soon you're staring at an aquarium full of sharks trying to eat each other, and that's kind of where Guild Ball is. But honestly, that's a compliment, right? It's a compliment from the standpoint that it's such a well-designed game that I tell people that, like, if you ever really wanted to see who was good at a miniatures game and you wanted to reduce luck as much as you could and really just put it down to skill, then my choice without a doubt is Guild Ball, right? Like my choice for what game you should put in front of the two players that need to have said pissing contest, that's Guild Ball for sure. If you want to talk about low cost of entry, very, very active monitoring dev team, and a very active and very invested player base, again, that's Guild Ball. These are all wonderful things for the players, the people who play Guild Ball, the people who know Guild Ball. These are wonderful things. It's what makes, these are the things that make Guild Ball, you know, my favorite game right now. My favorite miniature game is all these things that I'm saying. But it's these things that are killing the game. They're the best features of the game, and they're the worst features of the business end of the game. You know, so the field test that they're doing is really looking at how to simplify the game, how to reduce that that skill gap by adding some additional randomization to the game. And for those of us who play miniatures games and are fully invested in Guild Ball, adding more randomization to Guild Ball is like anathema, because you know that's the reason why you came to play this game, was because you wanted that clean rule set. You wanted a nice competitive set. Okay, so his skin, this guy's skin is gonna be lighter than this dude's skin, right? So what I might do, I'm gonna have to do a little highlight on him. I think Blood Bowl will become my sports themed game aside from Arstea. Completely knackered from and play, still have a chance to win. But Blood Bowl is I think Blood Bowl is great from a league perspective. If you have a great group of players, a fun group of players who can regularly get out and play games, Blood Bowl is really going to shine in that case. And the other thing about Blood Bowl is you kind of have to walk into that game with full understanding that you are not playing a balanced game. Like Blood Bowl they come out and admit it. Like Jervis Johnson has it in the foreword of like one of the living rule books. He's like, look, we did not make a balanced game here. Do not, don't have any illusions about that. It's Blood Bowl is a game designed for, for progression and league play. And the races are very thematic in their play style. And there's just going to be teams that are flat out better than other teams. And out of the gate, there are going to be teams like, what comes to mind immediately would be like Wood Elves, Skaven. These are teams that are so good out of the gate that a 1 million gold Wood Elf team is still going to have a decent chance of beating like a 1.5 million roster of many other teams. And same with Skaven. Skaven are also very strong. You could say the same, but then there are other teams like Chaos and Necromantic, and those teams that once they progress to a certain point, they really are the top end of the power curve. So those teams really come out and start to shine. Now I made him a little more. He's a little wider. He's a little more Derek Zoolander almost. Teams like Snotlings, you'll win maybe like a game out of 100. Truth. Yep. That's why I'm saying like it is. They make no illusion about Blood Bowl being balanced. It is not and was never really designed to be a balanced game. Gabo has a sock on his head and got lucky and killed the ball carrier with a trip. Oh man, I've had many players die to goblins or even halfling, like a halfling, a lucky blitz from a little guy like that. Any of those titchy guys. Okay, so he's a little pastier in the rookie version, and then then obviously he's had some sun here. So we're just gonna go with that for now. But yeah, so we are looking to get, I'm looking to get back into Malifaux. I know a few other of our regulars are also looking at, hey, you know, jumping back into Malifaux. And Malifaux is stupidly fun to paint. So it's horrible to build because the Malifaux kits, the pieces are so extremely small. So it's kind of a nightmare to build it, but to paint it, a lot of fun. So right now, let's get his, actually, what am I doing? Let's make sure we get it all. Let's just do a good job getting it, get it all. There you go. Sit on my Guild Ball team. If the game dies out though, I'll have 2 to 3 I can play. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I'm going to be building myself a new engineers team, and the problem is I don't think I could reasonably sell my old Engie's team, mainly because I don't have an extra Nomad and Rivet to sell. So like, and those are players that people playing engineers came to play. So yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer. Anyway, while I've got this color out, I want to get some of the framework here. Let's get some of these. You want to 10 Thunders and Guild, yeah, both very, very popular. There are a lot of things about Malifaux that I like. I love shuffling the cards. I like putting the table down, and I love the theme of the game. I love the unique play styles of the game. It's just my thing. My only hangup with Malifaux is that the game just takes too damn long to play, and you know, there are so many masters in the game, so many masters and so many unique play styles that it's just like it eats up so much bandwidth. I don't want to give up playing any other game just so I can be decent at Malifaux. So I guess I guess I just accept being fairly bad at Malifaux just so that I can play a bunch of other games as well, Oh, you have that Molly crew. That is a really nice crew. Yeah. I love painting Malifaux. It is such a good game. It's so fun to paint thematically and whatnot. All right. Is there any other? Am I missing? I guess there's like little buttons and buckles and that kind of stuff that are going to be gold. So I guess I can hit those. Yeah. Good job, Mr. Guy. All right. Paint some dark hair on this dude. He doesn't have, does it still, his mustache he doesn't have a mustache yet in this version. So yeah, lately I haven't painted anything for myself in a little while here. I was gonna paint a little more Batman stuff, but I'll get to that. I've got to paint this, and then I have to paint I'm gonna paint some Resident Evil for Nelson, and then I got another person asking me to paint some miniatures and trade for furniture, and then for resin 3D printed furniture, which sounds cool, but I'm gonna let them know that I'm a little bit busy right now covering some other stuff, and I do want to get back to painting a few of my own things. Right. You gotta paint your own stuff too. For your commission painters, you gotta stop and paint your own stuff, or else you'll burn out. It's one thing I've learned. Right, give yourself some you time as well. You know, I was painting at a good clip there when I can alternate, you know, client projects and my projects, that kind of thing. Let's look at some messages. Okay. All right. Let's see. So, I will share something else today. Okay. As you guys may know, I'm a big fan of boba. I love my boba, right? I love my boba, but there's another food that I also really love, and that is chicken. I am a big chicken person, love fried chicken, especially fried chicken and waffles. One of my favorite, probably my favorite dish of all time is fried chicken and waffles. Now, of note is the Popeyes chicken sandwich that came out, as you guys know, came out last year. Caused quite a ruckus with people stabbing each other to get themselves one of these sandwiches. And you know, I didn't follow the hype for a while. I'm one of those guys that anytime something is like really hype, then I get super skeptical. So then I back off and I'm like, man, I'm gonna wait. You know, and then Star Wars sequels came out, everyone was hype. I'm like, nah, I'll watch those later. And then I didn't regret that one bit. But in this case, I waited until, you know, all the hype was dead around the Popeyes fried chicken sandwich. And when I finally had one uh, a few months back, I was like, man, and I had the spicy, right? Like, man, this is a good sandwich. Oh my God, this is a good sandwich. Like, as far as a fried chicken sandwich is concerned, you know, Chick-fil-A, obviously, they make a good fried chicken sandwich. And if you want to get, you don't want to get like a McDonald's or a Burger King or even a Wendy's fried chicken sandwich, which is not bad. The Wendy's fried chicken sandwich is not bad. I I thought about doing a segment on the channel where I you know those guys that sit in their cars and they just like eat fast food and they rate that shit. I'm joking, by the way. I'm not going to do this on my channel. Maybe as like a LARP for fun or something. I might do it. But anyway, I gotta say that Popeyes fried chicken, that sandwich really impressed me. I've always been a fan of Popeyes, right? And but I was like, it's really good, but I wouldn't stab anybody over it, right? I'm like, yeah, pretty good, but I wouldn't hold people up at gunpoint for it. And obviously, I'm referring to real events around the Popeyes chicken sandwich. But anyways, you know, several months go by, and today, and I think I am keeping count, but this is my 6th Popeyes fried chicken sandwich that I've had. And let me tell you something. I was jonesing so hard for the Popeyes chicken sandwich that, I had meetings today until 2. I'm like, and I told my wife, like, look, she was making lunch, she was making cooking for us, and I was like, I really got to do something for me. I really got to go get me that Popeyes fried chicken sandwich. So I went across town. They got me that Popeyes fried chicken sandwich, and I picked up a couple things for my kids, and I'm driving back. And that sandwich does not make the trip home, right? Because like I eat full on eat that sandwich on the way. And let me just say, and I admitted this earlier today, but I'm starting to see why people would kill each other for this sandwich. Because I'm like, man, that really was as good as I was driving over there, and because I've already had some, I'm like hyping it up for myself. Like, yeah, this is gonna be good. I love that fried chicken sandwich, and I had one. And I just mention that I've been exercising more. Well, I'm also eating Popeye's fried chicken sandwiches, so it all evens out, folks. Anyway, I do love that sandwich. Man, I am impressed. I am impressed, Popeyes. I'm giving you a shout out right here for free, because that's how impressed I am with your sandwich. All right, you're doing a good job, Popeyes. That's all you need to know. Anyway, yeah, that if you're gonna have that Popeyes fried chicken sandwich, spicy. That's all I'm gonna say. Just go, oh man, and do you. I'm not gonna lie. I may have a second one before the weekend's over. That's how that's how serious I am about this Popeyes sandwich, man. All right, moving along. Okay, so the scheme here is like red and green, and like a little white, that little white ascot there, right? I am going to go with kind of a white shirt here. So I'm gonna undercoat this shirt with a little Griff Charger gray. Right, it's gonna give me a little bit of shadow on the shirt. And it's also gonna give me a little bit, just a little bit of that greenish hint, right? Because I still wanna keep him close to where his colors are eventually gonna be when he's no longer a rookie. So I'm gonna do it like this. And then let's get this down, let that dry for a little bit. But you can kind of see where that's going, right? We're gonna go like that. And we're gonna let it dry for a little bit. Even though I would normally be painting an adjacent section right now, we're not gonna do that right now, right? What I am gonna do here is, like I said, because I have to kind of keep them looking similar, I'm just gonna add that Griff Charger gray, and it's actually gonna add a little bit of shadow here to the white part of the model. Great, there you go, nice little shadow. Okay. There's kind of some other like side projects going on with this thing, because it appears that they tore this guy off of the scenic base, and basically we want to put the rookie on this scenic base, and then we want to put this guy on a different base, and we're going to put him on something kind of like a rock, kind of hilly, this kind of thing. So we're going to blend some different colors on this, make it look a little more natural, like it's going to be more like a mossy type hill. So we are going to, so I'm going to add a little bit of brown in here, a little bit of color, and we're gonna, and this brown is going to come in as kind of a shadow, right? This is like painting terrain, but we're doing it on a much smaller scale. And this is where I am going to do a little bit of blending just to kind of convince you of how natural this whole thing is. Right? So I'm going to put some of that down. Right, get a little color in there. Okay. You're looking at regular guy was on the scenic base, but was super difficult to pack. Oh, gotcha. But but if you liked him on the scenic base, why not just keep that the way it is and not send it, right? I mean, I'm not doing too much to this guy. I'm gonna just blend him to make him match the other guy. So do that. Now I need a darker green. Hiya. I cannot find colors that I like. Let's try the, we kept tipping over. Gotcha. Yeah, hopefully I've got well, you know, to get him on this, I am gonna have to drill a little bit into this after I'm done painting it. Okay, so now I'm adding a little bit of camo here, right? So now you're getting a few different shades and tones, and you can blend them together, right? And especially down at the bottom, that's gonna be where that darker green is gonna sit. Okay. So that it's giving us quite a bit of variegation there. All right. Cool. All right. So that's going to blend. That's going to take a little bit before that's good to go. Let's do some bright blue on his goggles, because that's, again, I'm following what they have on the other model. I used to have a set of goggles just like this that were sort of gold and blue lenses that I wear with some of my steampunk stuff. That's cool. And then let's get to work on his pants. I just had the color I wanted. Okay. So we could do the pants while we're going to be working on the undershirt there. So this is a nice camo green. This is a good hunters / falconers color here. That's just, it's nice. That's a nice, it's a really nice rich green. All right. So now I'm gonna bring that shirt back to mostly white. Actually, I don't want to, I'm not gonna quite hit white on this. I'm gonna get close, but I wanna stick with the green tones a little bit. So I'm gonna use kind of a different color here. I'm gonna use this verdigris. It looks terrifying on camera, but don't worry, just again, trust in the process, right? This is gonna look pretty white when it goes down on the model. But what I'm trying to do is kind of resonate the green tone a little bit, even though this is gonna be a very, very light green, and it's gonna cover super well. Yeah, shipping models is always just difficult. I do not recommend it if you don't have to do it. Oh, look at all these buttons here. I gotta get all these little tiny buttons in here. First, let's finish this. So you can see it's coming in. It's definitely not that white yet, but this is the midtone color. So we will bring this up to white, but right now I want to hit it with this color to preserve some of that greenish tone that we like so much. My cat wants, I wonder, does my cat want back in the room? I think he does. Let's let him back in so he could stare at the door and come back out. Let's do that. That's a good idea. All right. There you go, kitty. Yeah, you gotta pick a spot, cat. You're either in here hanging out with me or you're not. I'll even give you this chair. Go on, sit right there. So today, I helped my wife out with doing her senior capstone interviews. This is like a senior project that they do at her high school, which is it's essentially like a job interview. You talk about, you reflect on your 4 years of high school, what you've learned, what you feel like your learning strengths are, and what your weaknesses are, and that kind of thing. And and I agreed to help her because it sounded interesting enough, and I interview people in my line of work. I conduct a fair bit of interviews, and so it's always interesting just to interview some of these younger kids and get to understand like where their heads are at and that kind of thing. I was fairly impressed. We had some good students that were part of these interviews, and it was just kind of fun to I don't know, play business mentor with my wife present, and she was really the one that kind of moderated these interviews. So it was cool. It was like my little foray into all the distance learning that had been going on. And it's good to be my wife put it best. She has some hope in the future when she talks to when she sees her students and high school students not being the dumb kids that you always hear about on the news and that kind of thing. But I am old enough to be calling dumb kids out. That's, you know, that's one of the perks that I get for being the old guy. This cat is already bored, isn't he? He is already bored. There, you can see we brought him back to the white, but it's got a good green, like very subtle green tone underneath that that you may not even be very conscious of when you're looking at him, but it's there and it's kind of cool. Okay. Let's get the other buttons on. Any questions, comments, or threats while we're just chilling and painting? Okay. I am in the Zoom, so if anyone wants to join the live conversation, let me know. I'll shoot you a link to the Zoom and you can hop on, join me live here. As long as you have something interesting to talk about. Hopefully, if it's not interesting, I just shut you off and just kidding. We kick you off the show. You're boring. All right, let's do a couple of things here. I'm gonna do black on the boots. So we'll do that first, and then I'm gonna do the vests. And the vest in this case is going to be red. I think I'm gonna do his, he has those like fingerless gloves that half of the Guild Ball models have. So I'll do those in black also. I forgot to get, whoop. You know, we're gonna give his gloves here, black. Okay. And then you need to go back to Nasdaq yellow here for a second. Okay. You know what the model I'm really looking forward to is Crimson Ice Prism for Aristea. That is a very, very interesting looking model. Almost more because of how like her paint job than the actual model. Very interesting model. And then I've got this thing going on. I'm gonna let this dry for a second so that I can. So I got this thing. I don't know what this is. Like I mean, it's a crate. I'm not sure. Is it a goal? Is it gonna be? What is? I have questions. What is this going to be? Anyways, oh, just wasted a bunch of paint. All right. So let's highlight the skull here. It's pretty straightforward stuff, right? A skull and a crate on some sand and some gravel. All right. Let's get, should have a good color for, it's almost too white. I want this color here. This light gray green. Look nice on the, oh, it's not a goal, just a bonus item. Oh, that's cool. Well, we're painting it, it showed up here. I don't know if you intended for me to do that or not, but we're painting it. Okay, so I'm just giving the wood a little bit of a highlight, right? Just kind of edge the, I don't want to make this too even, or the wood, it doesn't look, the wood doesn't look as, you know, convincing if you paint it too even. Wood should be stained, it should have different patches to it. Oh, okay. This is just a bonus the guy threw in. That's cool. I mean, it could be the start of a goal. You could add stuff to this to make it more of a goal. This looks like this could be a mortician's goal, right? Because it's got a skull on it, and you know, this could be, doesn't really look like a casket, but maybe it's just bones that they shipped. Who knows? I'm gonna highlight these. I want these to be more conspicuous, so I'll highlight those. All right. Okay. It's cool. Whatever it is, it's cool. Oh, and I do want to get some color around these rocks here, right? It'd just be cool if there was just a little bit going on here, right? You don't have to, I don't want to highlight the whole thing because it'll take away from the crate. So I just want to, right? I just want to pick out enough of the larger rocks and stuff so that, again, looks pretty convincing. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's pretty convincing. All right. All right. Now we got to get a little more precise here on this dude, but he's coming together. Like he's getting there. So now we're going to go with the red vest. Again, kind of be you really want to be pretty clean about blocking this color out, because this color is so strong, if it bleeds out of place, it's gonna look pretty dumb. Very quiet evening tonight. I like that. I'm not all ranty. Not feeling punchy about anything in particular. You know, it has been a couple of nights since I picked up a paintbrush, so. And tonight I just like, oh man, I gotta just make myself jump into it. But yeah, when my other NG's team shows up, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from the commission stuff just to concentrate on getting that team done. And sadly, we will add it to our pile of unplayed COVID teams that include my order team, which is awesome. And then I have time. I'm going to figure out I want to do a completely different paint scheme on those engineers. I haven't figured out what I want to do yet, but yeah, I do want it to be a departure. You know, the way Guild Ball's going, these last resin teams may be my quote unquote forever teams, right? Whereas before I was replacing some of my teams each season, notably Alchemists. I would always buy a new Alchemist team. It may be different this season, right? Like they said, Guild Ball's slowing down, so you know I may be less reluctant to, or more reluctant to, move on a team on my yellow Alchemist team. I can still sell the green one because I still have that green team that has the cool spell effects and that kind of thing. And I think I don't remember if I think I still need Kami though. Are the peeps at Comic Quest hanging on? They're doing okay. I mean, we're still talking to each other about how much gaming, like how much we miss gaming. So from that perspective, I guess it's good and sad, right? All right, so we're gonna make this wood a little richer on the rookie. So instead of, we're gonna go with snakebite leather here. maybe not. Maybe we go like really rookie and go like wildwood. I kind of like that idea. Maybe we do that. Oh, thank you. Well, hey, I know you already have an alchemist team, but I will probably put that team up for sale. Or what I may end up doing is I'm probably just raffle it off with extra life. Shoot, I might as well do that for my NG's team too. Just raffle those teams off. Or I mean, well, I'll run full like eBay auctions on them and see how they do. I think it's going to be harder to fundraise for Extra Life this year, just because, you know, so many people are out of work, and those of us that are, you know, that still have our jobs, we're going to be a little more cautious about throwing it around so much. There we go. Yeah, this is nice because this gives it a, this will actually give that wood a better contrast, and it actually, it's going to come closer to matching the wood that's on the base, which is cool. And something just occurred to me what I should be doing. So let's get this color down. Rookie Ikaros. Man, that limited Ed Ikaros, the rare OP kit prize, is so awesome. The one that Kevin has, it's so cool. Yeah. Not bad. It's coming along. Looking pretty good. There was, yeah. I was like, there were angles here that I missed with the yellow. Okay, cool. And in fact, I decided I'm going to do yellow. I'm going to do like a kind of a gold type effect here, right? There you go. Kind of give that a nice little effect on that guy. All right. And then I'm jumping around a little bit to make things work. I've got to blend this together. And the way I'm going to do that is just with a little bit of scorpion green and like a real quick overbrush of this. And if you may have seen me do this before. It's really kind of a way to give, you know, to give texture while blending a few different colors together. Do other miniature games have stuff like the Guild Ball organized play kits? Yes, yes they do. Like Aristea has an organized play kit. Drop Zone Commander had them. So some other games do, not many though. You know, Infinity they do organized play kits as well. So yes, some, but not many. It would be great if more companies did have those OP kits, because they're super fun. They're exciting. I like the Guild Ball one just because, you know, like with the previous kit, it was like, oh, another limited edition missed. Hooray, you know, and wasn't all that exciting. All right, I want to do I mean, the wings they're decent on this, but they're very understated, we'll say. They need to wake up a little bit. So I'm just gonna give them some highlight. Like I'm just gonna add another, really simply just add another color here, right? And yeah, it can still retain that leather look, but I want the membrane to look a little thinner, a little lighter, right? Let the exoskeleton part of the wings stand out a little bit more. So I'm just kind of taking the decent job that the guy, the previous painter had on this, and just kind of giving the model a little more visual interest. Yeah, who is that? Who is that? One sec. Oh, this is a stuffed fables thing. Cool. All right. So yeah, this is good. This is given these wings a little more visual interest to them without like radically altering the paint job. Woo! Don't worry, folks. That was just allergies. I assure you. I do not have the COVID. All right. Here we go. And I'm going to do that on both sides. So it's really just touching up things on this, right? Really just one or two more steps. And it is should convincingly match a little bit closer to the rookie. All right. Does the repaint? I guess I did not know it was. It was just these showed up, and here's what we're doing. We're swapping a base, and we're touching this guy up, and we're painting this new model, and we're making a brand new base for the old model. So, hey, you know, it works. But this old model has a decent, like I said, it has a decent base coat to it. So I'm just gonna just like work with that and make it visually a little more, we'll say, interesting, right? Just with some additional highlights and right, all pretty minor stuff. But the devil's in the details, right? It's funny too, because I generally hate red and green color schemes, but this is not bad. Like this is pretty cool. Let's do, where's that NMM gold base? There we go. It's actually not a lot to do. It's just different activities, right? It's like activities around painting. The painting is just the sort of basic, the basic easy part of the whole thing. And then it's interesting to make this whole thing blend, especially with another person's job. Kind of cool. I have had a lot worse experience with repaints, and generally I don't accept repaints or like rebuilds or partial builds because sometimes you end up doing more work than you would have had to do if they just handed you an unbuilt model. So I'm a little wary of doing stuff like that. In this case, though, it's really not. This is pretty simple stuff. All I really have to do is build a little extra interest in the model. And the base I built for this is really pretty simple. Okay, so I'm going to give him, this is going to be like a heavily burnished gold kind of frame here. Right, so he's just going to be a lot brighter, period. But he will match his rookie counterpart a lot better doing this. And I think this is a more stark color scheme too. You know, it's not as clean as the previous job, but that's kind of on purpose. Like we want to have some weathering done, and we want to have a little texture from the leather. We want to have, you know, just a little bit of interest around the exoskeleton. You have a hard time describing colors, so you just sent the paint. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, I hope it's okay that I'm touching up the painted one to make them match. Okay. He's not bad. All right. So back to this guy. So now we've got to finish this NMM gold color scheme here. So I actually have to tone this down a little bit. So where is that? You know, I'm kind of liking this Ikaros dunes. It looks too light though. Maybe let's try it. Let's try it. I'm always playing around with new gold formulas. Yeah, that's actually kind of nice. It's not as red as I hoped though. So it's very easy to fix. Oh, thanks, Michael. All right. So yeah, I want to introduce a little bit of a red burnish here. And I'm going to do the same on, there we go. We do a little red burnish there, and then I can highlight it back towards gold. This is one of those things that's like, it's very easy to do if you know how to do it. But if you don't know where to start, I can see where people, because a lot of people tell me that they find this like burnished gold technique to be a little intimidating. But I think it's nice if you know that if you know where your look needs to land, then this is actually pretty good technique. There we go. And again, this is a burnish. Doesn't have to go on every single inch of the gold, but it needs to be present enough to sell the idea that it is burnished gold. Okay, cool. All right. Doing okay there. Let's do, now unfortunately, because what I have to do is I have to seal all this stuff and then I can actually assemble it, right? I've got to seal all of these pieces before I stick the rookie on that base. And I also have to seal the older model before I put him on that forest base. And then I also have to drill the hole on the forest base. So you can see there, just add a little swing gold effect there. This model's kind of cool. It's pretty fun. So now I'm going to give him this sort of buttery gold highlight here. And you got to be really kind of sparing with this super light off white here, right? You got to be, you don't want to overpower the model with too much bling, right? You got to be careful where your bling goes on these. But if you do, it's one of those things where like less is more. Whoa, like see, that was way too much. But you just blend that one out. Right. So I may actually have hit the spot where I cannot do any more on these because I need them to dry or I need to seal them. Getting there anyway. Me and Katie are going to try to make yakisoba. We're going to crack the bottle of sake we picked up. Oh, nice. What sake did you end up getting? I'm hoping Hoping the sake works out well. I haven't had, I think the last time you were down here, Michael, I think that was the last time I had sake. I haven't had much occasion to crack one. That's cool. You got Kurosawa. Okay, good. Kurosawa is that's probably one of the better sakis if you are not a if you're not an God, I'm gonna sound like such a snob and so stupid, but I'm gonna say it anyway because it makes sense to me. If you are not if you're not really an experienced sake drinker, Kurosawa is fantastic. It really is the most versatile of, we'll call it the off-the-shelf regular brand sake, right? Kurosawa is designed to where you can have it hot, you can have it chilled. It's, in my opinion, it's still best at room temperature, though. You know, you may have folks that really like it hot. When I first tried Kurosawa, it was this is my single days, and my friend brought his Japanese girlfriend over, and he was trying to set me up with this Japanese girl who and they brought Kurosawa, and she was really the one who started teaching me about sake, because she apparently she was she was a member of the family that did that owns Nissan. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's the Nissan family, but it's, whatever. She's like, her dad or her grandpa or whatever is like one of the prime owners of, Cup of Noodles. I don't think it's Maruchan. I think it's Nissan. And so, they brought Kurosawa over the first night. That was one of the first sake they brought over, was Kurosawa. And she was explaining to me, how to drink sake. What's the difference between hot sakes, cold sakes? What are unfiltered sake? What are dry sake versus sweet sake? So she taught me a lot about sake, and it just ended up being really kind of one of my go-to drinks of choice, just because it's such a nice, it's so nice and mild. And Kurosawa, she was explaining to me, like, oh, you can find, here in the States, you can find Kurosawa just about anywhere. Black label Kurosawa is fantastic, but you kind of have to work your way through to that point. I don't know if any of this is making sense, but you kind of have to like get familiar with sake before you want to spend the money on the special black label Kurosawa and drink that black label, because and I think where that's coming from is like, it's such a mild flavor that you might just kind of miss it, and therefore you're like, it wasn't very good, right? But if you've had lots of different kinds of sake, and I think what happens is you start to appreciate some of those milder flavors. And so by the time you get to the special black label Kurosawa, then it's pretty tasty. Now, I lost my train of thought. So sake is kind of like, it's kind of like tequila, but opposite. It's like the opposite of tequila, right? If you have good tequila, like if you have high-end tequila, it's really refined. There's really not much of an alcohol taste there, but you have all this other like all these other stronger flavors coming at you, right? The more it, the more expensive the tequila is, the more of these flavors that are built in, and they come at you, and like they're trying to actually hit you in the face with some of these flavors, right? And it's really kind of good, and you know it's really interesting, exciting to drink that kind of stuff. But conversely, with sake, the aim for high-end sake is the more it tastes like nothing, the better, right? A good sake is really mild, just a little sour, and then there's sort of fruit. There may be a fruit or a wood aftertaste at the end of it. God, I sound like such a snob. I'm embarrassed. We're deleting this after, but but it's true, right? I'm not I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you have to be a wine taster and all that kind of shit. I don't care about that. I'm just saying, if you're going to spend your money, and you're going to drink sake, be of the expectation that almost like culturally they want you to understand how the simplicity of nothing, right? Yegaki mu literally means nothing. And that's why it's like one of my favorite bottles of sake is it's just the smoothest thing you've ever had, and it tastes like nothing. And people are like, wow, like I'll give people a taste of that and say, hey, try, this is one of my favorite sakes, try this. And I'll give them a little taste of that, and they'll go, wow, I didn't, they were expecting, like, some people see people drink sake, like the first time I saw anybody drink sake was Karate Kid, where Pat Morita is drinking it. He's like toasting his dead wife, and he's like super tanked, and Daniel has a little bit of it, and he's like, oh, that stuff's awful, right? And I'm thinking like that it's like liquor, like it's super boozy. It's repulsive to people. But no, sake isn't. It's good sake isn't designed that way, and sake is such a ceremonial thing that really they want you to appreciate the rice that was used to make the sake, and that kind of stuff, and the subtle flavors that are built into it. So no, they don't need to smack you in the face with a bunch of flavors. They're trying to do the opposite of that. They're trying to it's really neat, in my opinion. It's such the opposite of how Westerners approach alcohol. It's like you approach out, there's either the like, yeah, man, I just need to get toasted, like throw that rocket fuel at me. There's that end, and then there's the, oh well, I really want to have 12 different flavors, and I don't want it. I want it to taste sweet. Some people like their alcohol to just be like candy, and they want to pretend that there's no alcohol in it so they can just keep drinking it and keep drinking it. So there's that end. And then sake is like no, we don't really, we want you to enjoy like the mildest thing. We want you to understand like how great simplicity can be. And I love that about sake. I love that. Like I love that it's not supposed to hit you in the face. It's supposed to be very mild, and you're just supposed to sort of sip it and enjoy it. And then, obviously you're having hot sake. Kurosawa is just great food sake as well. But if it's just the two of you having a bottle, try it both ways, in my opinion. Like take what they did was they used these ceramic mugs, and they heated up the they were at my old place again. I was a bachelor, and they didn't. I didn't really have much in my kitchen. They came over, and they heated it up with these with ceramic mugs, and she had me try it that way while we were having dinner. And then as things were slowing down, then she said, "Okay, have the chilled version of it." They didn't chill it; they actually just had room temperature. And she said, "Yeah, okay, now have the rest of the meal this way." And that was very cool. It's really neat. I think that there's just something to that like, here's the timing, and here's like the it's like having an arrangement around your meal that was so super cool. Anyway, I am going to, there is one other thing I can do here. If I can find a paint, I can, here it is, okay. But yeah, hope you enjoy it. Still got my Masu sitting here. Now, these drunken streams have kind of gotten out of control over the years, and people have come to regret joining me on those streams. So I will confess to you guys right now that I really am looking to reduce or even eliminate those types of streams from the channel. Yes, they were good fun, folks, and then they'll, and we'll have good memory of them. But I think for the folks that go into that, end up on those, that we're not expecting for it to fly off the handle the way it has been. Want to practice a little more restraint. And plus, when we're gaming on the channel, it can be very frustrating, I think, for people trying to watch that keep getting sidetracked because, somebody's drunk, and I'm talking about me when I say somebody's drunk and not able to track the game. So I'm talking about me in that case. That last Shadows of Brimstone, I'm like, I didn't keep track of like half the rules in that game because we were tanked. And then the other night with Jake, like the last hour of that was kind of went south. So anyway, you're getting a good idea of where this is going, right? So, I don't feel too bad about having to finish this off camera. I don't know, my little mossy hill is kind of cool. We'll add tufts and stuff to it. We'll make that much more interesting after all is said and done. This is already very interesting, so I don't really have to do much here. Like I said, a couple of highlights. Just wake it up a little bit. Okay. But yeah, well, I'll finish this sometime tomorrow, and then it's over to the Resident Evil stuff, and I gotta start on that. Now, the good news about that is there's no build involved in the Resident Evil stuff, but I also need to figure out who's who. So we'll let this dry. Yeah, they're smaller pieces, but yeah, I gotta figure out who's who in this little pack of stuff. I think I can tell. I know some of these. That's Leon. This is Claire. I don't know all of these. Okay. All right. Anyways, what is my favorite brush size? I don't have one. I just like tip, like having a brush with a good tip. So I guess if I get to just use one brush, I would probably use a number 2 or number 3, but from a very reputable manufacturer, like either a Winsor Newton number 2 or a Raphael 8404. Those are fantastic. Haven't tried the Artist Opus stuff yet. Those brushes look great, but yeah, 2 or 3, I guess. If I'm playing it safe, then I would use a 1. Tonight, I'm mostly painted with a 1 because my normal 3 Winsor Newton is on its last legs. And then the 2s I just wreck because I love them. Like I use them all the time. Anyway, yeah, I think we are at that point where still fairly early, but I am going to call it here just because we would be sitting and waiting for things to dry. But yeah, like that's pretty cool. I like that. I think that sand turned out really nice, really bright. That base is cool. And then this is right now just kind of looks like moldy salad, but we will put some life into that. So anyways, check comments here one more time. All right, guys. So with that, we are going to call this stream to a close. I want to thank everyone for watching. Have a good night, guys. And we'll catch you on the next one.